In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world, in the heart of Times Square, welcome to Agent Brew Executive Sessions. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. This is a podcast that percolates real estate insights, where we have a casual conversation with the industry leaders in the C-suite that have walked the path before all of our agents, and we have actionable insights and mindset and strategy to bring you success. Today, we have Dezireh Eyn of Platinum Properties. Welcome, Desiree. It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
So I always like to start with how we know one another, and we happen to have originally met in Palm Beach at a big conference. So I'm so glad that from that invitation, Realty Co was able to come and present to your agents, and now we have you here on Executive Sessions.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad that we connected. I'd heard about your company. And I'm excited to have that as an additional resource for our agents.
Fantastic. So tell us about you. If you can do a elevator pitch per se of you and your company, we'd love to hear it.
Sure. So my name is Dezireh Eyn. I'm the CEO of Platinum Properties. I stepped into the CEO role earlier this year. I come from a big Persian Jewish family of all entrepreneurs. That was a big area of encouragement growing up. That's what we thought you do. You start your own business. Started Platinum Properties in 2005. My experience in real estate prior to that was as an intern at a real estate brokerage. And I just loved being around the energy of young real estate agents who were transacting and making money. And it didn't sound like work to me. Just this idea of showing people beautiful apartments. And these were apartments down in the financial district, right, that were unique back then for being larger and having all the amenities and being reasonably priced. So that motivated me to get my license. I worked as an agent. I absolutely loved it. And so when my brother Kashi approached me about starting Platinum, at the time he was actually considering doing it with a different partner. And I said, you know what? I want to do this with you. Let's do this together. And that was the beginning of our story.
Wow, that's fantastic. In 2005, that's quite a long time. Now, 20 years of having a brokerage. What would you say has been your biggest challenge from running the brokerage?
Yeah, I think the challenge I've had is common amongst business owners, especially earlier on. It's not as much of a challenge now, this idea of working on the business versus working in the business. I think when it's your own company, early on, you're trying to stay budgeted, right? You don't want to hire as much staff as you may need to get to the level that you want to get to. You also have your own way of doing things. And so I was very in the business for many years. It wasn't until around like right before COVID.
Okay.
Where we started, and during COVID, where we expanded as a company, hired more staff, learned a lot about who we wanted, right? Creating who profiles for every role so that we could actually hire the right people. Doing that allowed us to build a very strong staff team. Right now we have 15 full-time staff for the 75 agents that we have.
Wow. And
so it's put me in a position where I can focus a little bit more of working on the business and not just in the weeds of the day-to-day.
Got it. So you've been doing this, well before the 2005 when you started the company. So was there a prior career before that? You mentioned you were an intern. So
yes.
Was there another career or another focus that you had prior to?
Yeah. So when I started the firm, when I started in real estate, I was in my summer going into my junior year of college. So I was lucky. I got into the industry pretty young. Lucky or maybe unlucky. I don't know what you would say about that. But before getting into real estate was not on my mind. It was not where I thought I was going to be. Like most people in their early 20s, late teens, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had interest in fashion.
Okay.
And so those were the internships that I took on in my few years before taking on the real estate internship. I always loved just fashion, creative. I have a family that's in antiques. So there's always been this, we've been around design and furniture. And so I thought that was what I wanted to do. And then when I took on that internship in real estate and eventually got my license, it was very clear that real estate was the right place for me. And I did go to law school. That was something that I wanted to do just to further develop my skills. But we founded Platinum before law school. So those 3 years that I spent studying, I wasn't pushing as hard as some of my colleagues.
Right.
Since I knew I was coming back to Platinum.
It's interesting now that you talk about your family being in antiques and then your interest in fashion, because my view of Platinum has always been very, very, very much an art forward first. And when I came to visit your office, it's so well appointed. It's just it's very chic. It's very cool, and the design is fantastic. So I remember always reading early on about your emphasis on art and creating those really great spaces. So I'm curious to know, any particular wins over your career that you're most happy about?
There's something right now that we're working on. It's kind of brewing. It's a very exciting win for us. More to come early Q2. But it's an opportunity to really take our firm to the next level. And so I can't say much more, but that is a recent win that I'm extremely excited about. It's a part of a bigger project, but overall this has like reinvigorated me, and it's reminding me of the early days of Platinum. You know, the excitement of when you're first creating something new. It's been fun these 20 years, you know, pivoting and basically reinventing ourselves every year, right? That just comes with the territory. comes
with it, especially in New York, right?
Yes. So if you don't, you're basically not relevant. But this new opportunity really takes us to a whole new chapter, and I'm very excited about it.
Wow, well, we look forward to it. And I love how you mentioned the word brew. So it's almost like an early gratitude game of Agent Brew in there. So any particular transformational losses over your career where something didn't happen, but it forced you to reevaluate and then it ended up being a win?
Yes. So early on in our business, we expanded and we opened up 2 additional offices. So we've always had our presence in the financial district. Our offices have always been on Wall Street. And then in our first few years, we decided that we needed to expand and get into different areas. And so we opened up an office in Midtown East, Midtown West, and we grew our agent count from around 36 to 100.
Oh, wow. That's a massive growth in a short amount of time.
It was a massive growth in a short amount of time, and as you probably can guess, it didn't go well. And it was really transformational because as a pretty young business owner, alongside my brother Kashi, we were forced to kind of face the reality of like, this is not successful.
And around what year was this?
This was around, I want to say 2009, 2010.
Okay, so we had just gone through the Great Recession, and I mean, real estate was still really tough. It wasn't rebounding yet. So, of course, whenever it's a downtime, you always think, oh, now is the time to expand. Now is the time to, go big. But
it didn't work. But I can say it didn't have as much to do with the recession because we actually thrive in those markets since we're such a diverse firm. We really leaned into the tenant rep during that time.
Oh, okay.
And the concessions were so high. You had like 2-month OPs coming from landlords. So it was actually a pretty good year for us in that way. But the reason we failed is because we did not have the right systems in place. We didn't have the right operations for expansion.
Got it.
And so it was a pivotal moment because it made us realize the importance of bringing things back down to what we knew, building from there, and then later on expanding.
Understanding who you are, and then going forward authentically and with your strengths.
Yes.
Good to know. So curious to know, is there a favorite tech piece that is out there that's really helping you achieve today?
So there's a few different tech that we're using right now that I'm pretty excited about. But one in particular is especially exciting. It's an AI coach that has over 3 million hours of recorded calls along, in the past 2.5 years. And not only does it give you insightful feedback after your call, but it also gives you the opportunity to do it again through one of their sales coaches. I think that's really interesting because no matter how many people, how much staff you have working with you, it's such a high touch thing that you can't replicate.
Right. And experience is key, right? Like repetition, and the more you actually role play or have opportunity to answer questions like that, the stronger you become.
Absolutely. And I think that's relevant whether you're in your first 6 months or you're a 20-year veteran, right? There's always ways to improve it. And the data is behind this software that really knows what works. So having the opportunity to not only get the feedback, but then to role play it again to get it right and build your confidence for the next time that question or issue comes up, I think is invaluable.
So Platinum Properties, you mentioned you're on Wall Street.
Yes.
Is New York City then your main market? Is that where you're solely positioned?
That is our focus. We are really a New York firm. We have no plans in the near future of expanding outside of here. I think there's a lot of opportunity in this current market. There's a lot to continue to learn and lean into. So I would say we are a very New York focused firm.
So then just based upon what's happened in the industry over the last year and a half with the NAR settlements, have you noticed a change in buyer or seller results as far as how has it impacted your business, or has it not?
The difference that I've noticed has been more in how my agents are conducting themselves as professionals. One of the things that we did very well as a firm, and we actually did a whole industry-wide event for this, was prepare our agents to have those conversations when it comes to buyer agreements and really show their value and establish that transparency from those initial interactions. Okay. And so as a result, we haven't seen much of a shift as a result of it.
And have you noticed, has your buyer representation gone down or up, or basically stayed the same?
I would say the buyer representation has stayed the same.
Okay. All right. Now, what about, since you are a New York-based firm, there's been a lot of interesting legislation that's come through just in the last 6 months.
Yes.
With the FAIR Act. How has that affected your business? Are you primarily sales or rentals, or do you do a fair mixture of both?
So we're at about 70% sales to 30% leasing, and that's definitely our trajectory is moving up even more towards the sales side. What we did notice was a decline in tenant representation, which was not a huge part of our business, but it was one of the parts. It was a source of revenue, especially when we're talking about the newer agents, right, that are starting to learn the business. We're big believers that if it's your first day coming into the industry, the best way to learn is from ground up. Right. And tenant representation is the way to do it. It creates the best foundation for future growth. And so we've noticed definitely a decline in tenant representation, and it's resulted in agents having to lean in even further into their sphere of influence to ensure that they're still getting that through their pipeline.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So from there, I've obviously owning a company and being the CEO is very stressful. Are there any habits, or are there any sports that you happen to do outside of the office to keep you sane or keep you on track?
I don't. I should probably find meditation something I've always wanted to get into. The two things that I do invest in is a therapist and a coach.
Oh, wow, that's so great. I mean, you need both.
I think so, right? Because therapy is, we all grow up with different challenges, and I do believe that at every stage of life, those challenges or traumas that you have show up in different ways. Right. So being able to be aware of that and understand that has a big impact on how you lead and how you interact with people. And I think that is an important piece. And then on the coaching side, I only recently hired a coach on a consistent basis. I've tried coaches in the past and haven't really found them helpful. My current coach has been huge for me in terms of helping me understand my strengths, understand what I want to do, where I want to be, and how to get there. So it's
more of a personal coach versus a CEO coach, as far as specifically for the business?
It's both.
It's both.
It's an overall coach, very focused on business, less than personal. But at this point of life, business is my personal. So it all overlaps.
All right, so let's play the gratitude game, which is rose, rose, thorn, bud. But because we are the Agent Brew, we like to have a little twist of coffee. Fantastic.
Cheers.
So rose, thorn, bud, but we start with the aroma. Are you a coffee fan?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you grind your own beans. I happen to grind my own beans every morning. I just love that aroma.
Yes.
So one might say, the best part of waking up, because you're able to smell the coffee brewing. What gets you out of bed?
Work.
Work, okay.
I mean, literally my kids, they're always up before I would like to be up myself. But I have a lot of drive for what I do. I love working with the people that I work with. I love working in my office.
Well, you bring up working in your office. So do you have a large contingency that come into the office every day, or is it primarily virtual?
We're coming in the office. I mean, on the staff side, 80% of my staff are full-time in the office, probably 90%. We just have a few exceptions for some work from home days for 2 of our staff. And then on the agent side, there are agents that are there daily. We get a lot of comments when we get people from the outside of like, wow, you were pretty busy for a real estate office. Yeah,
I mean, I have to admit, we were there for a lunch and learn, and it was very busy. It was very active, and I love that because I started in '99, and I learned so much from just showing up and hearing everyone speaking and just understanding, the nuances of buyer representation and seller representation, and just you're able to really have this great collaboration with others and the give and take.
It's huge. For me personally, I thrive from people's energy and being around that. I work from home 1 day a week, and I do that so that I can spend a little bit more time with my kids, but I actually prefer going into the office. And I think that at our firm, because so much of the business comes from collaborating, a lot of agents are sharing deals, sharing information. We've got family first is our number 1 core value, and you don't feel that necessarily, or at least we didn't feel that at the previous firms that we worked at. So it was really important for us to create an environment where people felt like coming to the office would allow for more value to come into their business, because there would be information sharing, because their colleagues had their back and wanted to see their success.
Right.
And so, I think just being around people with that mindset makes it more exciting to come to the office.
Absolutely. So then we move on to the actual brew, that first cup. One might say it's what sustains you. It keeps you going. One might say it's what is your why. So Desiree, what is your why?
I think my whys center ultimately around my kids.
How old?
So I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's young.
Yeah, they're little and they're adorable. And I wrote about this actually. There was an Inman article about how motherhood has really helped me lean into being a business owner more. And there's a decision you make. The more time you're spending focusing on work, the less time you're spending with kids, right? Time is limited. But I felt like it's important for my kids to have the kind of mother that I had, a mother that was invested in building her own career and valued that. And as a result of this balance that I have to do, I ensure that the time I do spend with my kids is really quality.
Right, which is really important. What I recently did Tony Robbins, and he always said there is
Which one did you do? Unleash the Power?
Unleash the Power, yeah.
Right.
And so he talks about there is no balance. Like you're on a teeter-totter. There is no fun if it's just straight across, right? There has to be a give and a take.
Yes.
And so I love the fact how you say the time you spend is quality time, because there's a lot of people that spend time with their kids, but it's not quality, and so it's not even worthwhile.
Right. It's funny imagining you at Tony Robbins. I feel like you could run your own Tony Robbins.
Well, at some point, let's see. I'd love to be a Tony coach, but in any event, the next part is basically the thorn, right? So it's that thorn in your side, or the grounds, which I've dropped on my floor many times, and you have to clean up. It becomes frustrating. Is there anything frustrating you today?
What is frustrating me, or I would say is something that I get a little bit anxious about, is so Platinum is entering this new chapter, and with it comes growth. And something that is very special to us is the culture that we have and the people that we have working with us. And I do sometimes I feel a little bit conflicted, or at least I get worried about maintaining this incredible, unique culture that we have while growing and adding people to it.
It's really important. I recently had Gary Mallon on, and so talking about the culture of a company, it's really important. And we were discussing how Pam Liebman, she's been now in charge for 20 years, but the culture is really maintained the same.
Yeah.
So if you could say, if you could give a couple descriptive words on the culture at Platinum, how would you describe it?
It's hard not to say the family part, because that's such a key part. So just the collaboration, the working together, entrepreneurship.
Okay, that's a great.
We really do attract people that want to build something of their own, which I think is kind of implied when you're a real estate agent, but not every firm supports that. And I would say fun. At the end of the day, work takes up so much of your time and life, and it would be a shame if you didn't sometimes feel like it was a fun place to work, whether it's just your daily interactions with the people that you're around, the events that you do as a company, your personal time. A lot of the agents at our firm have personal connections to each other and spend time with each other outside of the office.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's a real sign of, all right, we're doing something right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So the last part of the gratitude game is the fresh beans, or that bud. What are you looking forward to? Now, you hinted earlier that there's something Q2 of 2026, but anything in the shorter term, or any particular projects or exclusives or agents that might have just recently joined that you're just elaborate on?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I would say I have an upcoming trip. It's an international trip that I'm looking forward to later in the year.
Do you do a lot of travel?
No, but that is going to be more common, just given some of the exciting things that are coming up. And I would say tomorrow we're having a nice holiday happy hour.
Okay.
And I'm just looking forward to getting together with everyone and having a nice time.
Fantastic. Well, we've come to the point of the show that's always my favorite. And every guest, whether Agent Brew or Agent Brew Executive Sessions, you get the same question. And this is your young agent self, your young entrepreneurial self. If you could give yourself a piece of advice, not someone young today, but you yourself, what would it be, Desiree?
I think I would tell her to just chill out. I would tell her that things are going to work out. Not to make this all about like therapy, but if I could go back, I would have worked harder to try to identify the right therapist. I think it's really important to always work on yourself. And for some people, it's a therapist. For some people, it's a mentor. For some people, it's through these personal growth books that are out there. There's so many of them out there. For me personally, I think if I had invested in a really good therapist, it would have been a little bit less of a bumpy ride.
Understood. That's great.
Yeah.
So, any particular motivational quotes or people that motivate you that really bring that inspiration?
I would say so. I have a few. The one that I like that I'll probably butcher is by Maya Angelou.
Oh yeah.
And it's something about like people won't remember what you did for them. People won't remember what you said to them, but they're going to remember how you made them feel.
Right.
I completely butchered that.
No, but you have the
idea,
essence.
the essence
absolutely.
of it. And, just it's so true, right? Ultimately, you can say this, you can do that, but ultimately, like, it's that feeling that you give to people of making them feel heard, making them feel that they are relevant, that they are special, and really being present in those interactions.
The recognition.
Yes.
That's great. Well, it's no secret. Zig Ziglar is my favorite. I grew up on Zig. PMA, positive mental attitude, was something my father always made sure that I had. So I've now gone to Zig only quotes that I use. So basically, I love this one because it's FEAR has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. So once again, Zig's FEAR has two meanings. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours.
Yeah, good one.
So Desiree, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming and being a guest, and especially in person. I love in-person guests. And just sharing your agent story and journey. We really appreciate it. Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
I think I thought about this a lot. In some capacity of mentorship, coaching, consultant. I'd love to be able to advise any type of business owner based on the experience and my 20-something years at that point of being a business owner, and give back in that way.
Fantastic. Well, we hope you'll come back to future seasons of Agent Brew Executive Sessions. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co., reminding you to tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. But in the meantime, remember, it's a great day for real estate. The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by Realty Co. Realty Co. is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.